Oh man, got my G Fuel, had to catch a flavor real quick. Been hearing a lot of shit about this character can solo this verse, this character can solo that verse. Why don't you solo a bitch? I'm back with another video. 5 characters that can actually solo your favorite verse, my favorite verse, everybody's favorite verse, this verse, that verse.
Please transform for us, Sailor Moon!
So right off the bat, Usagi is a fucking dog. Like, the Sailor Scouts all have superhuman attributes, like, you know, your basic super strength, super speed, and all that cool shit. But in her final form, she is functionally immortal. She has probably like the best healing. I forgot what people classified it as. I think it's aura healing, where like it heals all injuries, illnesses, and can break people free of mind and morality control. She can survive in outer space. She can manipulate every element. She can manipulate all matter. She can manipulate soul, your mind, sleep, life, morality, reality itself, dude. Like, at the end, the fight that's playing right now is her versus Sailor Galaxia, and at the end of this fight, she basically like rewrites a planet's entire history and erases people's memories to forget that Galaxia was even there. Like, she is next level. Your fave can't do shit. Like, the other people on this list can, but I guarantee you, your fave, yours cannot at all. You get washed, peppered, starched even. Some of the more notable fights that showcase a lot of these feats are the one that's in the back versus Chaos Galaxia and Pharaoh 90. Like, those are towards the end of the fight that show, like, you know, broken Sailor Moon. But all throughout the series, you can see, like, superhuman attributes, the healing, surviving in outer space. There are instances where she manipulates, like, ice, lightning, fire, all of that shit. She is busted. The reality is just the icing on the cake.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Yeah, so right off the bat, Kirby is an eldritch abomination wrapped up in a pink ball with some red feet. Yeah, those are his feet. I spent the better part of my 30-year existence thinking those were shoes. They were already his feet. Bro, that's just the level of deception we're dealing with. Kirby is not cute, okay? And I'm gonna explain why. Not only why he's not cute, but why he absolutely claps almost anybody you run him up against. So for starters, he has his signature ability, which is his copy ability, which allows him to eat, yes, eat anything and perfectly copy their abilities and double their output in power. That's the canon description of his abilities from the games. Much like Sailor Moon, he also has self-sustenance, which means he doesn't need to breathe, eat, or sleep. He eats because he enjoys the taste of food, and he sleeps because that's just something he feels that he should do. He doesn't need it to survive. At no point has Kirby ever shown exhaustion or actual hunger. He just does that shit because he likes it, just because of the nature of his abomination. He's also fourth wall aware, because there's been many times where he knows that he's in a game. He knows he's on an adventure. He knows that he is in a game, and he knows that we are playing said game, and he is watching. He is watching and learning your every fucking move. Another one of the pink basketball's core abilities is his elasticity, as he's been shown to be able to wrap his mouth around many objects, quadruple the size of himself. Kirby is canonically 8 inches tall, so like almost everything that he would eat would be bigger than him, but the scale of these things is ridiculous. Like in the Forgotten Land, it's like, you know, cars, storage cabinets, cones. He can fill himself up with water, but on the grander scale of that, it's things like watermelons, all the food that he would eat, and literal planet-sized beings. Yeah, Kirby's not fun. This pink basketball is a fucking demon in the literal sense, and the fact that he can run the gauntlet on any verse you put him up against. His inhale ability can affect ghosts, holograms, and souls. He has literally eaten Ghosts in some of his games, holograms in a couple of them, like because the use of holograms isn't really prevalent as much as like ghosts and souls are. But yeah, souls in Star Allies, that's how you beat the main boss. You literally eat its soul. Who's the main boss in Star Allies? Yeah, it's just a god. It's just, the thing that created Kirby, Void. Once it gets infected with negative emotions, it turns into Void Termina. So Kirby literally is unaffected by basically killing his creator. It's wild. Kirby is fucking OD. He can also manipulate morality because there have been plenty of times where he's shown to swallow enemies and make them friends. Again, Star Allies is the perfect example of that being seen in game. It happens in the story all the time. He's resistant to poison because, again, no organs. So what's there to poison? He has full elemental manipulation due to the inhale ability, basically giving him complete control over whatever he inhales. The dude is also faster than light, because usually in these games, when you kill the god, there's some sort of black hole or some sort of void that sucks everything around said entity in. And he has used his warp star to outfly black holes on several occasions. Speaking of the entities at the ends of these games, they're the equivalent of God. Like Marx collects all these artifacts and basically he becomes supreme ruler of everything until Kirby absolutely claps him. Dark matter is essentially all the negativity and evil in the world in one place and can control pretty much the same things that Kirby can, and Kirby clapped him. Void Termina is the evil version of the entity Void that created Kirby, because Kirby is Void with all the good emotions. He's the reincarnation of Void with all positive emotions. And Void Termina is the reincarnation of Void with all the negative emotions. And Kirby clapped him. I could start any story about Kirby and an enemy and all of them would pretty much end and he died too. Like, the man is a fucking horror. He is not horror. Why do y'all like him? I like him too. I like Kirby. I love Kirby. Kirby's my nigga. But yeah, some of the more notable fights in the series are the ones that you've been seeing in the background. You got Marx, Dark Matter, Void, Termina. All of them are, at this point, series villains with the exception of Void Termina, because it's only been in one game. But Void itself is so etched into the lore that it's basically a part of the grander universe. Marx is your friend now, because, I mean, after you beat his ass, it's like, well, what else can I do? And then, Kirby being the the eldritch god of friendship is just like, hey, you know what? I don't want to kill you no more. I already did that. That shit's boring now. Let's hang out and save the world together. And Marx is just like, all right, cool. Same thing with Void. Void goes back to being, just this positive being that just exists somewhere out in space after getting clapped by this 8-inch grape, dude. It's fucking crazy. I love Kirby. Kirby's cool. Support Kirby. I mean, you kind of don't have a choice. If you don't, you fucking die. So before y'all all hop in my comments like, Jorno wouldn't be anything about golden experience, shut the fuck up. Like, I know, okay? Like, outside of his superhuman perception and superhuman intuition that comes with owning the last name Joestar, or being a part of the Joestar bloodline, rather. Yeah, Jorno's just a regular kid. He's a regular 15-year-old guy with some fighting ability, but, it's nothing compared to Gold Experience and Gold Experience Requiem. So, just to preface, Gold Experience by itself, in its base form, as far as power is concerned, it's not like a super crazy strong stand, but it has the ability to imbue life into things, which is, life manipulation, life control. He can heal others, heal himself, create things out of things, make things turn back into things. Like, it literally everything you could want from a healer, like all the way down to like basic transmutation. But that's not the main thing. It can project energy into other things. So like there's a part, right, where he turns God, what was it? Money? He turns money into butterflies. And the butterflies turn back into money when he gets them into his hands. Another scenario, he's in a fight and he creates a frog. He doesn't turn anything into a frog. He creates a frog and he gets hit with a shovel. And the damage that was done to the frog was transferred into the other person who swung the shovel, because that's how fucking perceptive and fast his reaction is. Like, shit's insane. You have, basic telekinesis. It can go through things, make other things move and float however it wants to. It hovers off the ground, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Requiem portion. So the Requiem portion has all of those abilities amped up to the power of X. Like, it's the only stand whose ability is canonically immeasurable. Even Araki's like, we don't know. They don't fucking know. Like, it can go as far as his imagination wants it to go. And that's really the only thing that is stopping Giorno from taking over the known universe, because at the time of his part, he was 15 years old. So literally the only thing that was stopping him from doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do was his young brain. The Requiem stand ability is the ability to revert anything to zero. Anything. So he gets punched. Nah, no, I didn't, because I'm resetting that to zero. You want to do harm to me in any capacity? No, you don't, because I reverted your will to zero. Do you wish that you never had that child that you had? Boom. Now you don't exist because I reverted your Like, it's literally that fucking OP, dog. It is crazy good. It's like having a walking Control Z, or undo for those that don't know, at your disposal. Because it like I said, it negates anything back to zero or resetting it back to zero. The best example is honestly like when he fought Diavolo at the end of the series, the final boss. Spoilers if you haven't read or watched part 5, but why haven't you? It's peak fucking fiction. But when he uses that ability on Diavolo, an enemy who can skip or nullify time, to revert time to zero constantly in that skip time. Basically, like, he kills him, right? But because of the ability, he's going to die infinitely, because whenever he dies, he wakes up or becomes aware of a whole new situation in which he's going to die. Because like it starts off with him getting stabbed, and then after he bleeds out from getting stabbed, he wakes up and he's getting hit by a car, and then after he dies from getting hit by the car, he wakes up on a surgical table where he's like fully aware of what's going on. Like, it cursed to die forever. So like, in theory, Giorno could live forever because he could just keep reverting his age or the aging process to zero wherever he is in his current life. So if he never wanted to progress physically past 15, he would just, revert my shit back to 15. But, he's probably not going to do that because he wants to drink alcohol and stuff, be a cool kid. But yeah, man, like, dude and his stand are like absolutely busted. Like I said, it nullifies anything to zero that he doesn't want to happen. So warping reality, nah, man, we'll take it back. Take that shit back. You stop in time, nah, fuck that noise. You stop my life, you stop my heart, nah, fuck that shit. Back to zero. Get out of here. Dude's OP. The notable fights that involve Giorno are between Bruno and Chocolata, where he like just absolutely beats the shit out of him. A lot of good uses of the life energy in that fight too. And like I said, the final couple of episodes, if you watch the anime or the last few chapters of the manga, when he's fighting Diavolo, it's a real good example, like really the only example we have of Gold Experience's power or Requiem's power. Yeah, like you're not trouncing the ability to revert, go back to zero. You can't divide by zero, idiot. You learned that in school. Giorno claps. So to cap off the video and further my slow yet inevitable descent into Sonic Tuber, we have Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow. the Hedgehog. Both of them, at this point in their character arcs, are pretty much equal. Like, Shadow's the ultimate life form, so in certain situations he does have an edge over Sonic, but their abilities are pretty much the same across the board until you get into the transformations. And, you know, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first up, we have their speed. No shit. Like, Sonic's the fastest thing alive. That's fucking forgiven. The strength as well. Because, you know, there have been multiple times where Sonic has been shown lifting or plowing through things that are double his size, made out of metal or whatever material. The strength comes naturally with the super speed, because, you know, you kind of have to have an amazing amount of strength to go through things, even though you're going very fast. Like, to punch through that shit, it requires an incredible amount of force. The durability is also a key factor of that. Both of them can manipulate the rigidity of their quills at will, because like when they're running, you know, they're flowy like hair. But again, on numerous occasions, we've seen them, you know, buzzsaw through metallic objects, through rock, through steel, brick, a bunch of other stuff, man. Like it's pretty wild. Like 1 minute they can just, you know, casually run their fingers through their quills or lean up against something and not puncture it, and then the other one they can tear through these megalithic creations made by Robotnik and the various enemies they fought. In both of their base forms, they can survive in outer space. This is something that we've seen with Sonic at least since the 90s, since like the second game where you go to the Egg Fortress and you fight the Egg Robo in outer space with no fucking helmet as a rodent. That's a wild feat to be able to survive in space in your base form. They have enhanced perception, reflexes, and agility. Obviously, that's something else that comes with the speed. They can generate a defensive aura with their boost, or once they reach a certain speed. Generally, that's where you get the, like in the boost mechanic games, like Rush, Unleash, Generations, they get that little blue aura around them, and it just allows them to run through shit unabated. They can also warp reality. Yeah, both of them have been seen to do this over the course of the games and comics. I think the most recent one with the games is Sonic and the Secret Rings and Black Knight and Generations. Because like in those games, like you are directly beating things that affect the flow of time and the plot and the reality of that world. In the comics, it's specifically the Archie comics, with Sonic, he creates the Genesis Wave, which is basically like him manipulating the human writers of the comics to change the outcome of an event in that arc. If you haven't read it, go read it. It's wild. The man is a fourth dimensional character in the comics, in the games. Niggas OP already. Again, plot manipulation, do Secret Rings, Black Knight, the Genesis Wave arc in the Archie comics, and Generations again. He's also, both him and Shadow, Sonic and Shadow, are both immune to existence erasure because they are unaffected by the Time Eater in Generations. So for a little bit of context, the Time Eater basically can eat his past and it would affect him in the present and the future. Basically, like if you go back in time and kill your granddad, you wouldn't exist. Yeah, Sonic's immune to that. That whole game is basically like him going to his past stages and beating the Time Eater out of his past stages and stopping him from fucking up his timeline. Again, this is like technically the third or fourth game that lets him do that, or that shows that he can do that, because the Time Eater, as we understood it, basically like, oh, if it gets a hold of any part of your past, you're basically done. And like he beats the shit out of him in the end of the game, and it's awesome. Love that game. Love Generations. So with that being said, we're done with the base. Now we have to talk about the super forms. They both have enhanced self-sustenance, which means they can survive indefinitely without food, water, oxygen, rest, anything conducive to the function of life. Invulnerability, they are pretty much impervious. In the comics, impervious to all things. In the games, you can still drown or be crushed, which, you know, I mean, you gotta have to have something. You can't give somebody like just full inevitability. Also, you can still fall down bottomless pits, but for all intents and purposes, they are pretty much invulnerable. They have the ability to manipulate space-time, either through movement or direct interaction. They also can manipulate, I don't know if this one would basically be lumped into space-time or causality, but I'm gonna call it causality. Because Sonic, Shadow, and Silver in Sonic 06, yeah, I know we all hate Sonic 06, but it's relevant to the conversation. Sonic, Shadow, and Silver all hurt Solaris at every point of its existence. Whether that was in the past, the present, alternate timelines, other dimensions. If Solaris existed when they fought it, they were able to hurt it at all points. So yeah, I guess that would be causality, manipulation, since it's happening at multiple points. And the final one, the one that's exclusive to one game and to Sonic as far as we know, is hypersonic. And he does whatever he wants. Cope with that shit. Like, there's literally nothing you can do. If you see a rainbow colored hedgehog in the distance, you gotta hold that. You're done. It's over. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah, some of the notable fights for Sonic are Robotnik, obviously, as they fight in almost every game. He is proved to be a problem for 30 years. Chaos from Sonic Adventure, as that's, I think that's like the first game where, you know, Sonic, Super Sonic rather, is stuck as a final boss character and not a playable character throughout the game. I don't like that trend. I want to be able to play as Super Sonic in the other stages. Hopefully Frontiers fixes that. But yes, we got Robotnik, Chaos, Final Hazard from Sonic Adventure 2, and I think Mephiles and Solaris are a pretty good example of the type of bosses that Sonic games have had lately, where they're just like these deities that control some major aspect of life or time or reality or something along those lines that Sonic gets to beat. Sonic and Shadow both get to beat. So those are really good examples if you want to take a look at some of their powers. And, you know, to cap off the video, links are always in the description. Appreciate y'all watching, man. Share it. If it's not your cup of tea, still share it out. Helps the channel grow, helps me out. Let me know what you thought. Thought in the comments. Check out those links though, because that's how I eat. That's how I live. Check it out.